sir. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, I'd like to start today's discussion, keeping it in a very interactive format. By narrating to you one story. It's a historical incident. This is the story of a Brahmana who was very much attached to sense enjoyment. His name is not given, but he is called as Avanti Brahmana. This is from the 11th canto, chapter 23. So this is a discussion between Lord Krishna and Uddhava. Lord Krishna is giving the nature of this Brahmana, describing how he was. So this Brahmana was gifted with all the opulence and he was engaged in commercial activities. Generally, Brahmanas should not be engaged in commerce-related activities. They should exclusively be dedicated to Brahma Jignasa, and they should be simply accepting those things which are necessary for the maintenance of the body and soul. And voluntarily should choose a simple living, high-thinking life. Sometimes it also means a Brahmana voluntarily chooses to remain poor. Srila Prabhupada sometimes explains that if a Brahmana is given some Lakshmi, and if he doesn't need that Lakshmi, then he will donate it. If a Brahmana is given 100 rupees, if he needs only 1 rupee, he will keep 1 rupee, 99 he will donate. He will not stock it up. Because exclusive dependence on Krishna is the nature of a person, is the nature of a transcendentalist. When somebody is not exclusively dependent on Krishna, in fact, Shuddha Bhakti or Kevala Bhakti is very difficult to perform without this exclusive dependence on Lord Krishna. It has been seen, it is mentioned in Chaitanya, I think Chaitanya Bhagavat, when Lord Chaitanya had taken sannyas and he was going to Puri, Jagannath Puri, few of his associates, Vidyan, Prabhu, Mukunda and others, they were following him. So after walking for some miles, Mahaprabhu turns back and he asks everybody, is any one of you carrying any money or any 5-star Cadbury trophy or whatever, some kind of object in which you can take shelter? These days people take shelter. What are a few things in which these days people take shelter? Let's analyze. What is that one thing in your life which makes you feel sheltered? ये है तो सब कुछ है.
Lakshmi.
He is telling Lakshmi. Yes. पैसा है तो लगता है कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. And then somebody told more important, mobile. Even if you don't have money, you can forget that you don't have money by using the mobile. Correct? No? For some time at least. So as long as your mobile is there, you feel sheltered. I remember I was in a foreign country where I didn't know the language, and it was very difficult for me to live there. I was feeling homesick. And somehow weekend time, Saturday, Sunday, I didn't know what to do. But I was feeling sheltered that I have my laptop. I can do some work, and I can get some entertainment from the laptop. But on Saturday morning, after getting up and I tried to switch on my laptop, it was not working. At that time, I went into so much depression, so much anxiety, I almost got a heart attack. What will I do for 2 days? And then I called my IT admin. My laptop is not working. And in Germany, calling someone on a Saturday is a crime. And I called him. But he understood that I'm from India. So he cooperated with me. And then he somehow fixed my laptop remotely. And then when it was working, I was able to open and work. So this is how sometimes we take shelter of things. So mobile, money are some of the things which we take shelter of. But essentially, what we are taking shelter of, whether it is mobile, money, or any other objects, it is sense gratification. We are taking shelter of sense enjoyment. We somehow have hope against hope that by doing this sense enjoyment, I will become peaceful, my mind will become satisfied. Correct? No? So this Avanti Brahmana was gifted with all opulences and had taken shelter of that commerce activity, but he was a very miserly, confused person. And with miserly nature comes lust, greed, and anger also. So he was lusty, greedy, angry, and very miserly. In his home, not much religious activities were performed, and the family members and guests were never properly respected. Even what he needed for himself, he would not give to himself. Like if he needs a new dhoti, he will wear the old dhoti. Not out of a sense of renunciation, but just to save the money. Have you met such people? Ever? You've never met? So, because he was very hard-hearted and miserly, all his son-in-laws, wife, daughters, servants, they started thinking that he is our enemy. Why? Because he doesn't give us the money. This is materialistic family life. As long as you are helping others in sense gratification, you are my father-in-law, you are my father, you are my husband, you are my mother, etc. But as soon as the sense gratification is stopped, the relationship breaks. This is the harsh reality of this world. So that's what happened. Over a period of time, when things got depleted, some of the Lakshmi was stolen away by the sons, some of the Lakshmi was stolen away by the relatives, some of the Lakshmi was stolen away by the government, some of the Lakshmi was stolen away by thieves, some of the Lakshmi was stolen away, taken away by the common people. And then when nothing was left, you know what happened? He was thrown out of the house by his relatives. पूरा जिंदगी हमारे को बर्बाद किया. So, in this way, he was homeless, shelterless. And then, when he lost all his wealth, he was feeling great pain and lamentation. He had taken shelter of that wealth, he had taken shelter of that money, and now that he does not have it, कैसा लगेगा? What do you feel? Suppose you are fully sheltered in your mobile or in your Lakshmi, and one day you get up and you are told, "Sab khatam ho gaya." How will you feel? You will feel devastated. You will feel that your identification has been destroyed. There is lack of identity over there. Identity crisis you will fall into. Because that is what you associate yourself. So this Brahmana was feeling like this. His throat was choked and his eyes were full of tears. And then he started meditating. Because after all he was a Brahmana, he had some kind of spiritual practice. So he started meditating. What should I do now? And then he started remembering the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. He started remembering the simple living, high thinking lifestyle which a Brahmana should engage in. And in this way, he got some self-realization. But even after getting self-realization, life doesn't become simple. Few things were happening to him, I'll describe to you. So he was wandering about as a peaceful mendicant. He was trying to beg some charity. Although he is very self-realized now, he has understood the purpose of human life. But he is not advertising that, see, I have become a Brahmajnani. And on the contrary, what people are doing him, whenever they see him, they dishonor him, they say bad things to him. And when he's sitting on the bank of a river to eat some food, they come and steal his food, or sometimes pass urine on the food and spit on his head. Sometimes when he's carrying a stick, they steal his stick, they take away his water bottle, and there's a deer skin on which he's sitting, that is stolen away. Sometimes just to avoid everything, when he's sitting and doing japa, people come and take his japa also. And then whatever clothes he's wearing, rag, torn clothes, that is also taken away. And then people would take everything and then come to him. Yeah, okay. You danda, you go, you deer skin, you japa. He'll say, yes, it is mine. Nahin, I'll not give you. In that way, people were teasing me. Imagine if somebody does this to you. First of all, you have an identity crisis. And then when you have decided to make peace with it, and then you are living your life, people are not letting you live. What you will do? What is something which you will do? Tell me. Don't take hints from me. But tell me what you will do. न लोग आपको जीने दे रहे हैं, न लोग आपको मरने दे रहे हैं. In this situation, what you will do? Or what are the options you have?
Leave that place.
Wherever you go, you are being treated in the same way. It's like पूरा national level में publicity हो गया है कि this person is like this, and wherever you go, you cannot show up your face anymore. What will you do? He had taken a vow of silence, that I will not speak. The more I speak, the more trouble I get into. But you know what people were doing? They would provoke him to speak something. They would beat him up with sticks, calling that this person is a thief. They would bind him up and then they would shout, tie him up, beat him up, like that. Sometimes people would make sarcastic remarks like, see, he's such a great sage. As steadfast and powerful as Himalayan mountains. By the practice of silence, he is striving for his goal with determination. And then after saying this, they will pass foul air on his mouth. Sometimes people would tie him up like a dog, with his hands tied, legs tied, and neck tied. And they would tie him up to a stick, like a pet animal. So this Brahmana, he understood what is going on, and he did some research. And he came to some conclusion, which is the essence of today's discussion. Text number 40. नायम जनों में सुख दुख हेतु न देव आत्मा ग्रह कर्म काला मना परम कारणम आमनंति संसार चक्रम परिवर्तयेत. Ramana said, these people are not the cause of my happiness and distress. Please take note. These people are not the cause of my happiness and distress. Neither are the demigods, nor my own body, nor the planetary Graha Chakra situation, nor my past karma, nor even time. Rather, it is my mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. Manaha param karanam amanam. Sometimes we say हमारा समय अच्छा नहीं चल रहा है, टाइम अच्छा नहीं चल रहा है. Planetary positions, ग्रह, राहु, शनि की 5:30 चल रही है. I provoked the response from you. शनि की 7:30 चल रही है, टाइम अच्छा नहीं चल रहा है, मेरा नेबर ही खराब है. My neighbor is bad, but the neighbor's wife is good. And we give some reasons. This devata is not in my favor. I'm happy, but my body has so many problems. मैंने बहुत पाप किए हैं, इसलिए मैं सफर कर रहा हूँ. So this Brahmana has come to this conclusion. mind alone which causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. Manaha param karanam amananti. Now, how to understand this? This is the absolute truth, actually. But how to understand this and how to come to this realization? That is today's discussion. We cannot say that happiness and distress is just due to the state of our mind. Some people may argue that if your body is fully sick, at that time, if you just think that I am not sick, I change my state of mind, then I will become happy. Is it possible to do that? It is possible provided you have proper spiritual potency. If your body is fully sick with high fever, but let's say you are hearing Srila Prabhupada's lecture or you are hearing some pastime of Krishna which you are relishing, that is the moment you realize that you are not the body, you are the spirit soul. So you changed your disposition of the mind and you started feeling happy in that situation. Do you follow? Similarly, the opposite example or the opposite scenario could be you are actually suffering but artificially thinking that you are not suffering. For example, the camel. Camel eats cactus. And when he eats the cactus, the thorns of the cactus, they prick the mouth, tongue and everything. And blood comes out. Is the camel happy actually? But artificially it is thinking, Mother, the blood is coming out of the cactus. So here are some practical proofs that just by changing the disposition of your mind, one can change happiness and distress as a situation. But then how to do so? Because this requires a lot of mind control. Generally it is not possible. If somebody comes and slaps you, at that time it is very difficult to change the disposition of the mind. Generally the disposition of the hand changes. So today's discussion is how to control the mind and deal with thoughts. Keeping the example of Avanti Brahmana in mind, that see his situation. His situation is the worst situation I have seen in the Vedic scripture. I have never seen anybody in a more degraded and disgusting situation than him. Given the fact that this person is self-realized. So if he can overcome this situation just by controlling his mind, then we can also overcome all the miseries of life simply by controlling our mind. So what does mind control mean? What is your general definition of mind control? Would you like to tell me? What do you mean by mind control? कुछ तो बोल दीजिए. Gita Jayanti month. Gita was spoken in Kurukshetra. So people from Kurukshetra, please tell. By meditation, we can control the mind. Yes. Any other answer?
By controlling our desire.
You can. By controlling our desires, we can control the mind. Okay. Practicing mathematics. Practicing. Practicing sense control. Yes. Control of the mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. 17.16. Srila Prabhupada writes in the third. Mind control means detaching it from sense enjoyment. So the main reason the mind is suffering is because the mind is looking for happiness. And somehow it has heard bad advertisement. If you buy a house in this apartment, you will become happy. If you make this real estate property, you will become happy. If you get this promotion, you will become happy. If you eat this, you will become happy. If you drink this, if you smoke this, if you do this, if you do that, you will become happy. So these are false advertisements which the mind has heard. And we don't blame the mind. There is so much advertisement. Just now when I was coming, I saw a very happy looking man with a very happy looking woman with 2 happy children. Lord Sun say. Starting at 3.17 CR star. That is happiness you can get by buying this plot. So this false advertisement, wrong shravana, which we have done. The mind by nature is always trying to be constantly looking for something newer and newer to explore happiness. And therefore it is always dissatisfied and unhappy in every situation. Even if we put you in the Rashtrapati Bhavan in the best room, after 2 days you will be dissatisfied with that. Room nahi change karna. Room service is not coming. This food is not proper. Some reason you will find to be dissatisfied. So, how to control the mind? So, Lord Krishna is giving some solutions in Bhagavad Gita also. This is called Bhagavad Gita. And then there's something called as Uddhava Gita, which is in Bhagavatam 11th canto. So I'll refer to a few things from both the Gitas and I'll try to conclude what is the easiest way to control the mind. So Arjuna is telling, what is the very famous statement of Arjuna? That why mind is very difficult to control. What simile or what analogy he gives? Who can tell me?
I can control air direction by my arrows, but I can't control my mind.
Great. I can control the flow of air in this battlefield. How many of us can do that? But Arjuna had so much mystical strength that by the power of his arrows, Dhanur Vidya, all the other Vidyas are almost there, but Dhanur Vidya has completely vanished because it requires a very high level of mind control, sense control to practice. So he could control the air, the movement of the air by his arrows, but he could not control his mind. So therefore, Krishna as a perfect counselor, in the verse 6.35 of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Asamshayana Mahabhaho Manodurnigraham Charam. First, like a good counselor, he says, yes, what you're saying is right. Sometimes when we just hear and respond in a positive way, many problems are solved. Suppose if Krishna would have come, I am an idiot. Look at Hanuman. If I just give him one signal, he'll just finish the battle. He doesn't even know the definition of depression. And you are with me standing here and getting depressed. You are giving Artha Shastra, Dharma Shastra, 5 reasons you have given not to fight the war. When I am telling you to fight, what is your problem? You fight. If Krishna would have talked like this, Arjuna would have told, drop off my hand. No. So whenever somebody comes to us with a problem, we have to do reflective listening. We have to listen in such a way that the person feels that I am heard. So these are the basic principles of counseling. So Krishna said, Asamshayam. Correctly. It is undoubtedly very difficult to control the mind. But abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihite. If you practice suitable, if you have a suitable practice and a particular detachment, it is possible by suitable practice and detachment to control the mind. So what is this suitable practice which is possible for us? This is in this chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, which is Dhyan Yoga. Dhyan Yoga means give up WhatsApp, give up the whole mobile, give up Instagram, and not only that, give up everything. Go to a place where nobody knows you and you cannot talk to anybody, and that place should be in a holy place, neither too high, neither too low, and you should sit on this way straight. On Kusha grass. And then you have to meditate, keeping your back straight, and then eyes straight towards the pointed part of the nose. And you cannot make a call to your family. You cannot do all these things. See, even before saying all this, the moment we say you have to give up your phone there, I was scared, how much can I go down? Where there is no Zomato and Swiggy, how can I practice yoga? It's not possible. Now, one of the politicians in India, just before election, he did a stunt. He went into some cave and he did meditation like this. But in that cave, Wi-Fi was there, camera was there, and from there only updates were coming. And after doing that yoga, he took a selfie also. And then with him, so many people were there. And then a helicopter was also there. So he did meditation. So this is not Dhyan. In Rishikesh, when Srila Prabhupada would have a walk, sometimes when he would go towards the upper areas of Rishikesh, after walking for a kilometer or so, in some place, one lonely person, lonely man would be meditating. Another 2 kilometers, he would walk, another lonely man in the caves or mountains. So to these people, Prabhupada pointed that these are Dhyan yogis. Dhyan yogi means seclusion. If you want to understand the presence of Paramatma in your heart, you have to give up the association of other jivatmas. This is Dhyan yoga process, not Bhakti yoga process. So anybody who is claiming that I am doing Ashtanga yoga or Dhyan yoga, but I have made a yoga society, that is all nonsense. So Arjuna is telling, it is not possible for me to do it. So Arjuna is being given a very nice alternative, that you just do suitable practice and detachment, and you will be able to control your mind. So in our case, what can that suitable practice be? Which is easily doable. Sorry? Chanting is easily doable. Huh? Worship of deities is easily doable. Reduce the bar a little more. Sure. It is easy to hear about Krishna. This is the best medicine for the mad mind. And this is what Srila Prabhupada also tells in this purport. Hearing the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna is the expert treatment for the mad mind. So this is the suitable practice which we can do. The more you go on hearing about Krishna, the more you start getting transcendental realization and detachment. So the first and foremost of such devotional engagements is hearing about Krishna. Sthani sthita, Shrutigatam Tanuman Namam. 10th canto, chapter 14, prayers of Bhaktam. Lord Brahma is telling, don't try to make drastic changes in your lifestyle. Just from wherever you are, just go on and start hearing about Krishna. Hear about his name, form, qualities, and pastime. Start from there. So this is the first, and this Prabhupada says, or the Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada says, this is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all its misgivings. So anybody who hears the Vaikuntha Vani of the Acharyas like Srila Prabhupada on a daily basis, it's like a suitable practice which you are doing. And by this practice makes a man perfect. Slowly you will be able to give up all these things. And one more thing Srila Prabhupada has highlighted. For many years I did not understand what Prabhupada is. It seemed to be like a less important detail in a very serious verse. He says, hearing the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna is therefore expert treatment for the mad mind, and eating the foodstuff offered to Krishna is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. For many years I was thinking, क्या प्रसाद का concept है? But very recently I realized that this is so important. When you hear about Krishna, you get attached to Krishna and that leads to detachment, agreed. But if you make any compromise in eating prasadam, you cannot sustain that detachment. Vishayira anna khaile dushta hailima. If you eat food made by a materialistic man or a materialistic person, then your heart and mind will become wicked. And wicked means give up Krishna, go for sense enjoyment. So therefore, one of the most serious detachments in the life of a devotee is taking a vow that I will starve to death but I will not eat anything except prasadam. This is so serious. I remember when I was being initiated in 2019, I am now able to appreciate, even my spiritual master made all of us take a vow. We were some hundreds of people getting initiated. He made all of us take a vow. Do you all take a vow that you will eat only prasadam? At that time also we didn't catch what I saw. 16 rounds ka vow hua, 4 regulative principles aaya, this aaya, helping never leaving ISKCON, helping Prabhupada. but it is very, very serious. Even a very serious, sincere, mature devotee will simply fall down from their position if they ignore this very important principle. When it comes to book distribution, I always highlight this. Chant your 16 rounds, eat only prasadam, avoid Netflix, cinema, TV serials, you'll be able to distribute books instantly. Not so difficult. But if you break any of these three things, you will struggle. You will struggle. Whether it is chanting or any deity worship you said, meditation you said. Those people who are saying I am yogis, and this yogi, that yogi, ant yogi, adi yogi, whatever you are saying. If you are not focused on eating only prasadam, it is all a waste of time. So that is why it is very important. Hearing the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna, therefore expert treatment for the mad is therefore the expert treatment for the mad mind, and eating food stuff offered to Krishna is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness for the mind. Such a powerful product. So recently I started realizing it more because I made a mistake. I committed it, I confess it in front of everybody. Not everybody is chanting 16 rounds, and not in all the places which claim that they are serving prasadam, they are actually serving prasadam. So I fell into the trap of one of such places, where they would say prasad they had, but it was actually not prasad. And I got addicted to taking sabzi from that place and roti from that place. I don't want to get into details, but that created a havoc in my spiritual life. Just like in a pond which is very dirty, all of a sudden the bubbles come out. Have you seen? So I'm not doing anything, all of a sudden horrendous, obnoxious desires started coming in my mind. My thought process became completely materialistic. It took me more than 4 or 5 months to understand what is wrong, what mistake I made. And then when I just read this purport, I said, okay, maybe that's. Then when I started following this very sincerely, within a few weeks' time, I realized this was the problem. Vishayita anna khayli dushta hai man. Therefore, those who are not chanting, at least for my personal practice, I have decided those who don't chant 16 rounds, I have not accepted anything from them. Okay, to encourage anybody in devotional service, take it. We will help. In festivals, Janmashtami, it's okay. But otherwise, it's not good to do this to yourself. This is violence to yourself. Years of practice will get destroyed just because somebody with a material motivation could differ. So this is very, very serious. This is the first step to control mind. Second step is, no matter how much you control, 6.26 Bhagavad Gita, yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam asthiram tatas tato niyam yaitar atmanya eva vashamane. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So this is another very serious statement. Krishna has told you, you are in the process of controlling your mind. Your mind is going to misbehave. So what you should do? You should bring it back under your control. What is the process to bring it under control? One line answer, Prabhupada says. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. That is the way of bringing the mind under full control. Try to engage all your senses in the service of Krishna. So this is the way, whatever senses you have. The only way it can be controlled is that when it is engaged in devotional service. See, the first step to mind control is physical separation from the objects of senses. Suppose if somebody is addicted to smoking. So the first step is, don't go to that street where that cigarette is being sold. Second step is, don't associate with those people who are like, chalo thoda. In offices, at least I had seen, some people were crazy every hour. So don't associate with these people, but this is not enough. This is not enough. If you just do physical separation, your senses will starve, 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 and then one day overeat. And this is nothing to explain, all of us have experienced it. Bhog tyag tendency. You did tyag. त्याग कर दिए, कर रहे हैं, सॉरी प्रभु, फिर से करेंगे, फिर से this भोग त्याग चलते रहता है. So how to stop this भोग त्याग? How to stop this भोग त्याग? There are some laws of doing this. This is highlighted in more detail in the Uddhava Gita, which I will quote to you. But before that, Krishna has given the flowchart of falling down. He has explained how a person falls down. ध्यायतो विषयः पुंसः संगस्तेषुपजायते. संगात् संजायते कामात्, कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः, सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः, स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो, बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So dhyayato vishaya pumsa. Everything begins with meditation on sense objects. When you are thinking of enjoying something which does not belong to you. Now what belongs to you in this material world? Does this bottle belong to me? For the camera.
No.
Does this bottle, my name is written on Acyuta Arjunasakha.
Yes.
Does this bottle belong to me?
At least now.
Yes.
Can I enjoy it?
Yes, you are enjoying already. How many months you water from that bottle?
यार सबको थोड़ा मनोरंजन चाहिए. खाली आप ही मनोरंजन करेंगे. Actually, Gyan means to understand that this bottle is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. And all these things, they belong to Krishna. 7th chapter. So this bottle belongs to Krishna. It is in my custody for some time. That's all. किसी भी समय में किसी के मन में मनोरंजन करने की इच्छा आएगी, लेके भाग जाएगा.
You are we as a soul belongs to Lord Krishna,
Correct.
Lord whoever.
Correct. नहीं, whoever नहीं, Lord Krishna.
My everything is into Lord Krishna.
Correct. इसको बोलते हैं ज्ञान. आप ज्ञानी हैं. आप एक्चुअली ज्ञानी नहीं, आप बहुनाम जन्मनाम बोलते ज्ञान नाम महात्मा है. ज्ञान वासुदेव सरस्वती प्लेटफॉर्म पर है.
ये आप लोगों का संगति से होता है.
Thank you very much.
स्लॉट से होता है. I was
Correct.
जो वो बता रहे थे detachment ना. I was one of them.
Correct. Thank you for it. Let's थोड़ा हमको भी बोलो.
इसलिए आता रहता हूँ आपका.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So काफी मनोरंजन हुआ. इधर फोकस करेंगे. Gyan means to understand that everything belongs to Krishna. This is called Gyan. Vigyan means to understand, to see Krishna everywhere. For example, when I drink water, practical sikha. So when I drink water, if I can think, raso sukha, I am the taste of water. That is called Vigyan, realized knowledge. So, whenever we try to enjoy something which does not belong to us, that means actually nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna. So, whenever we forget that my constitutional position is that of a loving servant of Krishna, that is the time when the attack of Maya begins. Dhyayato vishaya pumsa. And the degree to which we want to enjoy the material nature, to that degree we will be affected by Maya. So dhyayato vishaya pumsa sangasteshu pajayate. You start meditating on this mobile, iPhone 19. Dhyayato vishaya pumsa sangasteshu pajayate. Sangat sanjayate kama. Then I desire lust to enjoy it. Lust means I'm trying to enjoy something which doesn't belong to me. Basically, in this whole creation, everything belongs to Krishna. So whenever I try to artificially enjoy it without using it in Krishna's service, that is called lust. So when I try to think of enjoying something, that moment I become attached to it and gives rise to lust. ध्यायतो विषया पुंसा संगस्तेषु प्रजायते संगार संजायते कामा कामा क्रोध विजायते and lust leads to anger. Why? Because lust never gets satisfied. आप कितना भी कोशिश कर लो, one day you'll be angry. कोशिश की क्यों नहीं? Why am I not getting happy in life? क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहा. Just like when you are under a spell, you do not behave the way you want to behave or the way you should behave. You are under a spell. So sammoha means modes of material nature. You are under the spell of the modes of material nature. Sammoha smriti vibhrama. When you come under the modes of material nature, then you forget that I am an eternal servant of Krishna. Smriti, memory, loss. The real memory is to remember I am part and parcel of Krishna and I am supposed to serve Krishna. That you forget. Smriti bhramshar buddhi nash. When smriti is destroyed, then buddhi is destroyed. Discrimination. Power to discriminate. क्या सही है, क्या गलत है, क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए. We forget that. We are not able to do that. And buddhi nasha pranashyati. When that is destroyed, then you are ready to do everything which is not asked to be done in the scriptures. Then starts vikarma, karma, and all these things. So basically, the first step to mind control is learn to ignore the mind and break the chain of thoughts at the level of dhyayata only. The moment that idea of enjoying something comes, disengage from that idea. How to disengage from that idea? Ignore the idea. Don't act upon it. If you start acting upon it, those samskaras will become very strong in your heart. Punyena punya, papena papa. If you do punya, then the urge to do more punya will come. If you do papa, then that is a further samskara to do more papas. So just ignore that. Think of a small baby which is trying to get your attention. So you have two options. Either you give attention or else you ignore them. If you ignore the baby, what the baby will do? It will cry, it will shout, and after that it will get tired and it will sit quiet. Has it happened to you? It used to happen with me. When I used to make some illegitimate demands, the only best thing which my mother used to do, she used to throw me out of the house and lock the door. In those days वैसा होता था. आजकल करते हैं क्या? नहीं. आजकल शायद parents को ही बच्चा लगता. Just joking. So I remember I would bang the door for some time. I will go to my neighbor auntie and say, see, I have been thrown out of my house. I will go to all the people in the building. मेरे को ऐसे किया है मेरी माँ. And they will be like, no problem, take this biscuit, no problem, come sit here, this, that. But ultimately my mother is not giving attention. So then after some time I would realize that until unless I listen to her, there is no way in which I can get my entertainment. So then I would just keep quiet. For 3 days I would behave very nicely. And then third day, whatever I want, I would get. So that was my technique, which my mother did not even understand, I think. The point which I am trying to make, that if you ignore a naughty child, the naughty child becomes a good child. So the mind is like that. If you ignore the mind, one day the mind will give up on you, that this person is useless, no point giving him ideas for entertainment. He will not listen to me. See, if you are trying to talk to someone, for example, can you give a demo? Can you please stand? Can you try to talk to me for 1 minute? Any conversation.
Hello sir, how are you today? How's your last week and where you have been? What exactly you have done during those last 7 days? And tell me about about your family, what your parents do, where are you from, and what your parents do nowadays. How many brothers or sisters do you have? What they are doing it? That's all.
Why do that like this? Thank you. Who was controlling this conversation? Please hear me. Who was controlling the conversation? By not responding.
Yes.
This is how you can control it. Monday mind will tell you thank you. मेरा कुछ नहीं सुन रहा तुम देख लो. So the first step to control the mind is to ignore and break the chain of thought where this idea to enjoy something is coming. Just thought will break. And how to break that? Don't act upon it. How to ignore the mind? By not acting upon what the mind is saying. For example, if you are supposed to get up at 4 o'clock, your world famous alarm pattern, how you put the alarms, one at 3:58, one at 4:05, one at 4:10. And then when you wake up at 4:10, you feel that sense of achievement. Although I was supposed to wake up at 3:58, but I have slept 10 minutes extra. So in this way, your mind defeats you every morning. So, if you want to really ignore the mind, don't act upon what the mind is proposing. For example, when you're doing your job, the mind is proposing, go and see what is being cooked in the kitchen. Don't do that. Ignore. Next day again, when you're doing japa, again at 7 a.m. only be sharp, because body and mind is trained. You know, that idea will come. 7 a.m. okay. Go and check. Again next day, again chanting. 7 a.m. 4th day, 5th day, 6th day, like this. If you don't go for 10 days, after that the mind will just 7 a.m. kal bhi hua tha, aaj bhi hua hai. Anyways, let's do japa. This is how. So, dhyayato vishyahamsa. Do not meditate on sense objects by not acting upon those urges which the mind is giving to you. And then you become a veera. Veera. When one can control the urges of mind is the actual hero of life. And that requires some spiritual strength. So, Prabhu, I don't have spiritual strength. I cannot control my mind. So what to do? So for that, there is a process. You have to become a hero slowly. So I am going to 11th canto, chapter 20, shloka number 21. So what are the laws of becoming a hero? First of all, how many of you want to become a person who has controlled their mind? Please raise your hand. I mean, enough of sense gratification. I'm tired now of these false promises. It is enough. It is so disgusting. So for that, you have to understand the inevitable result of sense gratification. 11, 20, 19. The inevitable result of material sense gratification is disappointment and pain that sears the heart. One becomes gradually hopeless and despondent in material life. Then receiving good instructions from Lord and His devotee, one transforms one's material disappointment into spiritual success. Actually, Lord Krishna is our only true friend, and this simple understanding can bring one to new life of spiritual happiness in the company of the Lord. So first understanding you should have that any kind of sense enjoyment, any kind of nonsense, or any kind of hope which the mind is presenting that you will become happy by doing this, will ultimately lead to destruction. This you should be fully convinced of. If you are not convinced of, that means one will continue taking birth again and again and again. So the inevitable result of material sense gratification is disappointment. कुछ भी करो, केवल निराशा ही हाथ में. So this conviction you should have that my mind cannot make me happy. And the ideas which my mind, materialistic mind is giving, it can never make me happy. Now, what and all things your mind is proposing, you please don't tell. It is not worth telling also, not worth discussing also. And it is not just for you, it's for me and for all of us. So what we should do? Purport. This is something similar to Yato Yato Nishchalati verse, when Krishna says, whenever your mind goes somewhere, you bring it back under your control. Now he gives more detail in 11th canto, Krishna, the same person. Whenever the mind being concentrated on spiritual platform is suddenly deviated from its spiritual position, one should carefully bring it under the control of the self by following the prescribed needs. Now what are those needs? Purport. Although one is seriously engaging the mind in Krishna consciousness, the mind is so flickering that it may be deviated from its spiritual position. One should then carefully bring the mind back under the control of the self. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that if one is too austere or too sensuous, one cannot control the mind. That means if you become a fanatic also, that from today, suppose you ate something and then you had some serious problem, then you will ask, say, isko life mein nahi touch karna. That is extreme austerity. And extreme sensuousness, I had a friend, whenever he used to get a material called sattu, he used to like sattu ke parathe. So whenever he would eat that, he would get dysentery. And you know what he would do? Like the only solution is to hot house. स्टमक को ऐसा क्लॉक कर दो, डेडलॉक बना दो कि उसमें से ना कुछ अंदर जाए ना बाहर. That is the solution to this problem. I will not name him, but he is a big, very high person, some president of a company now, with that logic. So, if one is too austere or too sensuous, one cannot control the mind. That means you have to strive for balance. What is that balance? Sometimes one may bring the mind under control by allowing material senses limited satisfaction. For example, although one may eat austerely, from time to time one may accept reasonable amount of Mahaprasad, that is opulent food offered in the temple to the deities, so that the mind will not become disturbed. So you are following a very strict regimen. You don't eat anything nonsense. And you follow very strictly. Once in a while, on Gaurapurnima or Janmashtami or some other Ramnavami day, if you eat some 14 items in your plate, chalta hai. At least you are not eating that karmi food. So once in a while, if you take opulent Mahaprasadam, it will help you to get rid of that unnecessary starvation which is happening. However, similarly, one may occasionally relax with other devotees through joking, swimming, and so forth. But, warning, if such activities are performed excessively, they will lead to setback in spiritual life. So you cannot, once in a while it is okay. Feast once in a while is okay. But if you make it as the formula of your life, Sunday feast means feast. Altar installation means feast. Bhagavatam installation means feast. Ekadashi means
Feast. Double feast.
double feast. Then it is a setback in spiritual life. So once in a while if you take feast, or once in a while if you engage in joking, or if you engage in some swimming activity or some game activity, it's fine. But you cannot make it the formula of your life. However, when the mind desires sinful gratification such as illicit sex life or intoxication, one must simply tolerate the mind's foolishness by strenuous effort push on with Krishna consciousness. See, even if your mind is starving, you cannot do adharmic sense gratification. That is not. That is not at all allowed. You are allowed only this much of sense gratification, and that too only in a dharmic way, and that too sometimes, until you get the taste in Krishna consciousness. But if you take to the path of adharmic sense gratification, oh, then you are lost. Then there is no hope for controlling your weight. So things like illicit sex life or intoxication, one must simply tolerate. Then the waves of illusion soon subside and the path of advancement will open again wide. I give the example of a rainfall. Sometimes when heavy rain comes, what we have to do, we have to just come inside the house and wait for something. If the rain will stop, then we can go out again. So similarly, when the urge to gratify the senses come, the Vedas, when they wake up, because of previous bad prarabdha and previous bad samskaras, when they wake up, we have to simply tolerate. There is no other. And wait for the right time to come. You want to get the happiness of seeing something. So instead of getting the happiness by seeing the opposite gender, or instead of getting the happiness by seeing some movie or something, wait. Go to the temple, see a drama, see a play, see a skit. But until that skit to organize नहीं हो रहा. अभी कितना 4 महीना हो गया कोई skit ही organize नहीं हुआ. तो wait करेंगे. One day the skit will come. But I will not do a dharmic sense gratification. I will not go to Jagrati theatre. Sorry. I will not go to. Somebody was proposing that spot for book distribution, so name came out. So I will not go to any theatre and I will not start seeing Shakespeare drama and all those things. I will wait. If at all I have to do some sense gratification, I will do it in a dharmic way, and that too rarely only in the association of devotees, just to give some satisfaction to my senses once in a while. Now, this is the way in which you tolerate. This is the way in which you control your mind. Is there any other solution? Prabhu, I am not able to tolerate, the urges are so strong that I am not able to tolerate. Then just go and sit in the association of devotees and continue hearing Harikatha. Arjuna also is arguing with Krishna that you are giving me reasons, I am not the body, I am the spirit soul, this Dharma Shastra, Artha Shastra is not good. Still, you are telling I should kill everybody, but still I feel affection for Bhishma. Still I feel affection for Drona. Still I feel affection for my brothers. I will feel bad when I will kill them. What to do? Krishna says, Matra Shastra Kaunteya Sitoshna Sukha Agama Paidama Nityastam Titikshasva Bharata. Just tolerate. There is no solution to these urges, just tolerate. In the right, so don't try to tolerate it alone. Tolerate the kuch aur hai. I have decided that I will not watch Netflix, but I will be alone in my room all the time. निर्जन भजन करने जाएंगे तो भजन ही समाप्त हो जाएगा. So, O son of Kunti, this non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception or sign of Bharata. One must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So one of the most important steps after disengaging from the Hayato Vishya platform, after disengaging from the thought process and engaging in occasional dharmic sense gratification in the association of devotees, one of the most important milestones in controlling the mind is to learn to tolerate. If you cannot tolerate, you will never see Krishna. You have to learn to tolerate. For example, you are getting the itch here. You can scratch once, but you cannot go on scratching. An intelligent person is, what are the possible solutions to this itch? Option A, scratch. Option B, ointment level. Option C, blood purifier. Option D, tolerate. What is the best option? सोच के बोलना.
कुछ और सोच.
कुछ और सोच. नहीं वो option B. What is the best thing which you can do? Multiple options also are available. Sorry? Blood purify करेंगे. But फिर भी scratch tendency तो आ रहा. Blood purify होने तक तो scratch तो होगा. What to do?
अरे करके देखेंगे अगर नहीं हुआ तो
control the urge for itching.
Yes. See, whatever is humanly possible, we have to do. We know scratching is not the best solution. We know applying ointment is an external solution. We know purifying the blood is the internal solution. But even when you take any solution, ultimately you have to learn to tolerate first. So without learning to tolerate, there is no success possible in anything whatsoever. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita is the only book which tells you that learn to tolerate. People fail to do this. When extreme situations come in life, people do not tolerate. They take extreme measures. They commit suicide. They hang themselves from a fan. They go and die in unnatural ways. But simply if we tolerate, we will achieve success. I give the example of cleaning a room. When you are trying to clean the room, so much of dust will rise. At that time, what you should do? You should shoot yourself. But I am not able to breathe only, I have dust allergy, anyways I will die, better I die before. No, you have to tie a mask, do what is humanly possible, and tolerate. So the solution to most of the problems is these 3 steps on. Disengage, once again, disengage from the thought process, do dharmic sense gratification in the association of devotees, and learn how to tolerate. These are the 3 steps in which we have to control these movements. We'll take your questions,
Prabhuji,
but can you actually
will it solve our Bangladesh problem? We gathered that day.
speak? I will come to your question. This question is related to nation control, not mind control. Just give me one.
No, everything is mine.
We'll take your question. Just give me one.
If you want to avoid.
No, I don't want to avoid. I will
We
answer.
gathered here for Bangladesh that day.
Correct. I will answer your question. Give me 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is the basic steps to control the mind. What are the 3 steps you can tell me?
Disengage from the senses.
Disengage the thought process. Dhayato vishya. How do you do that?
Thought, detachment, ignore.
Ignoring. How do you do that? Occasionally doing dharmic sense gratification in the association of devotees, like honoring Mahaprasadam, seeing us create, etc. But you cannot do this excessively also. And what is the last and the most important step? Mind control means disengaging from sense enjoyment. This is really very clear. We have to do this. Without doing this, we cannot achieve success in spiritual life. Now, Prabhuji, मैंने सब कुछ किया, but still क्या करें? I have succumbed to the desire for sense gratification. I have again fallen down from my standard of spiritual life. So the next aspect of today's discussion is to how to deal with this fall downs. The greatest of the yogis have fallen down. Other than Narayan, there is nobody else in this whole creation who is not fallen down. So if this gives you some peace, please understand this point. That it is not our problem, it is not your problem, it is everybody's problem. Everybody is falling down. Some fall more, some fall less. Some learn, some repent, some continue, some are shameless. So we have to learn how to deal with it. So the solution to dealing with it is also mentioned in the Bhagavatam. So, verse number 25 of 20th chapter of the 11th canto, 11, 20, 25. Krishna is saying, if because of momentary inattention, point to be noted, sadhu ko hamesha सावधान रहना है. Sadhu सावधान. One moment, क्या बोलते हैं उसको? नजर हटी.
सावधानी हटी दुर्घटना घटी.
Thank you very much. नजर हटी, दुर्घटना घटी. So one has to be very careful. Not even one more क्या हो सिर्फ 1 सेकंड के लिए रेस्ट लिए थे. उसी में सब गेम ओवर हो गया. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. If because of momentary inattention a yogi accidentally commits an abominable activity, then by the very practice of yoga, means bhakti yoga, he should burn to ashes the sinful reaction without at any time employing any other procedure. What does this mean? in the purport. It should be clearly understood that the word amhas or sin here refers to accidental fall down against one's desire. Premeditated exploitation of the mercy of the Lord can never be excused. That means you don't want to do something, but accidentally you ended up doing it because of past samskaras or because of nature or because of provocation. Suppose you are a very argumentative person and you have taken a vow that you will not argue with seniors. Suppose. But your nature is there of argument. 2 saal tak you have not argued. Others urge have. At least one senior I should find. Isko chup kar de. By nature you ended up doing that. Did you plan for it? No, it just happened. But here warning is given. Premeditated exploitation of the mercy of the Lord can never be excused. Accidental fall downs are excused. Premeditated sinful engagement cannot be excused. Be very careful. If we can try to cheat Krishna, then Krishna will cheat us. So significantly, लेकिन अगर accidental fall down हुआ है, acharyas are more merciful than the Lord. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked during a morning walk that Srila Prabhupada, we know, we have read your books, we know the philosophy, we chant Hare Krishna, we know your instructions. Even after knowing all this, when we make some mistakes, how do you call it as an accidental fall down? It is a premeditated. It is not an accident, it is a premeditated. Srila Prabhupada's merciful approach to these kind of things happening in the disciples was, if after committing such a mistake, if the disciple comes back to me, that means it was an accident. Itna liberal approach. Even after knowing everything, if somebody has done something abominable, but then later comes back to Krishna consciousness and makes a sincere endeavor to again start, then I will consider, Prabhupada is saying, then I consider it as an accidental fall down. And because Acharya is considering it as an accidental fall down, Krishna will also consider it as an accidental fall down. So, sincere lamentation, honesty and sincerity is the way to deal with fall downs. You cannot remain dishonest and hope that I will come out of this spiritually fallen condition. First step is lamentation. One should feel bad. One should curse themselves. This was unnecessary. How will it help me? In fact, it has not only harmed me, but because of it, so many other people got harmed. So first, this lamentation should be. And after that, one should become sincere and serious. When Jagai and Madhai were delivered from their unlimited sinful reactions, Lord Chaitanya told, will you do it again? What did Jagai and Madhai say? Na Baba Na. That means Na Baba Na. So sincerely one has to lament and one has to take a solemn vow. And then what I have to do, how to deal with this? Purport says, since the transcendental yoga systems are themselves most purifying process, especially Bhakti Yoga, if one gives up one's regular prescribed duties to perform a special ritual or a special penance, trying to purify a sinful reaction, then one will be guilty of the additional fault of giving up one's prescribed duties. So what I should do? One should pick oneself up from an accidental fall down and go on vigorously with one's prescribed duties in life without being unnecessarily discouraged. One should certainly lament and feel ashamed, or there will be no purification. However, if one becomes overly depressed at an accidental fall down, one will have no further enthusiasm. So, the most important point is that one should be properly engaged in bhakti, and the Lord will excuse and purify accidental foregrounds. Meaning to say, the best way to do your prayashchit is to intensify your bhakti. You just sit in front of Gauritai, sit in front of Radha and Krishna and chant your 16 rounds. You intensify your devotional service, you do more seva, you do more book distribution, you do more shravanam. That is the way to deal with fall down. If some accidental fall down has happened, then on that day you do more devotional service. This is the way to deal with fall. Rather than taking some artificial purificatory ritual, and rather than going in depression, or rather than not showing your face to devotees for the next 10 lifetimes, better is take the necessary steps, discuss with seniors, and then intensify your bhakti. Do more bhakti, do more seva. So this is the way in which you deal with fall. My seniors would always tell me, I don't have reference to it, but I have heard from my seniors, that Krishna does not see how or when you have fallen down. Krishna sees how quickly you get up and start performing Navamita Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and other things. So this is the way to deal with this fallen situation. And when you are properly situated in Sambandha Jnana, when you are properly have understood who you are, who is God, and that you are an eternal servant of God, then you will not fall. That means we have to go on chanting Hare Krishna, go on sincerely follow the instructions of Guru without committing aparadh. One day we will come to a situation where from where we will no longer fall down again. We will never fall down. We will come to that situation. And that is the situation of all the people in the spiritual world. That is that verse now. Yad gatvan anivartante tat dham paramam. Once someone goes to the spiritual world, they never come back again. That means they never fall down. They never fall down from their position. That is the meaning of the word Acyuta also. One who never falls down. And who is Acyuta? Only Krishna is Acyuta. And those who are sincerely following Acyuta, they are also becoming Acyuta. So this is the way to deal with it. Don't become overly depressed. Don't go into guilt conscious. Rather increase or intensify your devotional service. Zyada seva karo. Zyada jai karo. And pray to the Lord. Cry in front of Krishna. That my dear Lord, instead of crying for you, I am crying under the influence of Maya. Please help me. This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. With that, I would like to end today's discussion. Just summarizing. We heard the story of the Avanti Brahmana, that how in a so difficult situation he was, but he turned everything upside down in his favor simply by controlling his mind. He did not change his externals, he only changed his internal. And to do that, he required a lot of spiritual strength. Mana parama karanam atmananti. So, how to understand that mind is the main cause of my misery? We need to do some analysis. The analysis which we did was, mind is suffering because it is engaged in sense enjoyment. It is getting false promises that by doing this sense enjoyment I am becoming happy, but I am not becoming happy, I am becoming more vicious and wicked and suffering more. So therefore mind control means detachment from sense enjoyment. How to do that? Step number 1. Break the chain of thought. Dhyayato Vishya platform. Break that chain of thought by learning to ignore the mind. That means don't listen to the mind. Second step, engage if needed, occasionally, not as a formula of life, in dharmic sense gratification, in the form of Mahaprasad, and some fun and laughter in the association of devotees, to avoid starvation and go with the other things. And third step was, what was the third step? Tolerate. This is the master stroke of our life. Learn to tolerate. Learn to tolerate like Maharaj Yudhishthira. And then, if at all after doing this also, if something abominable is happening, which will happen, don't have unnecessary expectations from yourself. You will end up doing some aparadha. Then what to do? That day, do more devotional service, cry in front of Krishna, lament, and intensify your bhakti. The only solution for aparadha mentality is intensification of bhakti. Proof is Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma offended Krishna by kidnapping his cows, calves, and his friends. Aparadha. So what he did, he took birth as Haridas Thakur, and he continuously intensified his bhakti by chanting 192 rounds every day. And then he never did any aparadha. Aparadha mentality means what? Sensual enjoyment. The word aparadha contains the word radha. So when we do not have the service attitude like Radharani, then we do aparadha. Radharani and sense enjoyment are practically opposite to each other. So if we want to serve like Krishna, then we have to give up this desire for sense enjoyment, understanding that I will get billion times more enjoyment if I cooperate in the transcendental enjoyment of Krishna. This, if we don't understand, that real happiness, I look very nice when I dress up nicely. That gives me happiness. But I will get 50 crore more times happiness when I will dress up Krishna nicely. This understanding. When I eat that nice sabzi, I feel so happy. But I will get more happiness when I offer it to Krishna and then serve to other devotees and then eat in the end myself. So one has to understand that when we engage all our senses, our jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, mind, intelligence and false ego, in the service of Krishna, then we will be happy. Other than this, there is no happiness in the 14 planetary systems. So therefore the conclusion is, that one should not try to find happiness in anything else other than the holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the solution to falling down. You will never fall down if we come to this platform. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. So, disclaimer, I have been speaking very big words. I need the blessings of devotees so that I can also personally follow it. So in the meantime, I will take 5 minutes to take some questions, if any questions are there.